Good evening, whakalawhalahia, here's our BCN News. Families and supporters of the Anzac tradition will once again be at the Alofi Memorial to remember the 150 contingent who left the island to fight in the First World War. Whilst the Dawn Parade has continued much in the same way over the years, the message is still as strong then as it was today. This was the view shared by the current president of the new RSA, Charlie Tovaka. He said the Anzac has become a major part of the new history and tradition. Whilst the Anzac program itself, the Dawn Parade, has remained the same, the Anzac breakfast will add that element of culture.
We add into the actual Anzac program itself is the Anzac breakfast and make that a little bit more attractive rather than a cup of tea and go home. And you put in that culture of entertainment inside, like the kulifia kahaka, the kulitakaro, the fangamena. Give the opportunity to the schools to come and perform on that type of that day, in order to make it aware and make it more out there rather just to go there and celebrate and go home and all that. Also, we need to strengthen and empowering the cenotaphs at the village car for them to do their own thing, not on the 25th, on Anzac Day. They do their celebration, the Dawn Parade, during the week prior to that, near to that. And that will also help. I think that's the only way as well, because people can feel sense of belonging if they can't go to the main one. They have their thing, they have their celebration done during the week and all that.
One of the long-standing issues was the plea for a purpose-built home or house for the new RSA. Charlie says there has been a lot of talk but no action.
Yes, we talk about, but I don't think they take it seriously down to their hearts. When they go in there, I don't think I can remember quietly that they have a motion after motion, talking about RSA and all that. I don't think they never mentioned. We have more opportunities than our old folks have been left us. And mind you, they've been promised and left their wishes to have the facility or a building for the RSA and other things as well. Like the book need to be written.
That was Charlie Tovaka, the president of the new RSA. TV Niue will bring you coverage or highlights of the event on Saturday evening, and the full interview with Charlie will be broadcast on Radio Sunshine tomorrow morning in Niue. Around 25 children were engaged with various activities to mark Autism Month, that is this month, on the island. And yesterday the group went on a bus tour to visit places like the airport, the police station, and even getting ice blocks from Kendra's in Alofi. They also visited our studio and were given an opportunity to go live on air on Radio Sunshine. Organizer Angie Tuhipa says this is a great way to come together while the children are on school holidays.
We have Autism Month that we're celebrating. So we have a few events that have been happening. This is probably the second one. We started with the ECE Sports. This is just a really good way for us to gather our kids. Often they don't get a chance to do these types of things. They're a little bit isolated. So it's good to bring them out to have a chance to go and be with each other, but also to go and see the different things that we've got around Niue. Experience a bus ride. My daughter hasn't been on a bus for I don't know how long, so it's things like that that they're able to enjoy today, so that's why we're doing it.
According to Angie, conditions like autism, ADHD and others come under the umbrella of disability or Niue Tolomaki ki Mua. They acknowledge support from government, from local businesses and community organizations. One of the main focus of the group is to establish an organization of their own. Mentoring young people with life skills is a task that brought together former police officer Tony Edwards from Blue Light New Zealand, a couple of representatives from the New Zealand Defence Force, and the much needed coordination of the Niue Police. Police Chief Richard Sami told us that a big factor of reviving the program is to do with former Chief of Police Tony Edwards, who is currently working for Blue Light in New Zealand.
September last year, 2025, we met in Auckland City. We planted the seed to reinvigorate this camp for the youth of Niue. We wanted the youth to find this a challenging course, but also educational in regards to life skills, leadership skills, decision making. And I think something that's very important to me is having fun. You know, they're young people, young children, so they should be having fun.
Tony Edwards remembered that the last time such a program was put together was back in 2015. He told us that mentoring children is making sure that the kids are confident navigating life.
Our purpose here is to sort of give them mentoring, what young children need to be looking at or looking for, to help out in their journey. So, we always like to make sure that our kids are catered in terms of, how do they need to be respectful, how can they, build their confidence, how can they build connections with each other. And we kind of find where kids know what to look for, however they just get sort of stuck in a pothole where they don't know where to go to. And so we like to give those programs for them to sort of identify themselves so that they know what they're actually looking for.
It's been well stated that it takes a village to raise a child, and Sergeant Ryan Merwood from the Youth Development Unit of the New Zealand Army says that this village concept fits the partnership that they are providing.
I'd really like them to just, be proud of themselves and use their voice and express themselves. I think a lot of them start out quite quiet, quite shy. And then I'd like to see those leadership skills and potential, right? Instead of settling for second best, give 100%, do your best, and just really nurture themselves and grow and flourish.
Sometimes we always think that, our kids are good. We look at their manners, their behaviours, what social issues are out there. So we kind of put that all together and go, you're actually quite good kids. But really there's an underlying where, are they really okay? Do we really cater for our young ones? Is there enough? Maybe in terms of culture, learning about themselves and the culture, but there's quite a lot of other stuff underlining where, kids are going through social issues in terms like bully, bad behaviour. But sometimes we don't see those things until, something blows out and then you go, well, there's a problem there. So, our kids are unique in a way where we always like to think that we give them enough to know what they're doing or know their culture, understand the respect of mum, dad, family, but then there's other underlying issues that I think that we can work on kids. So, in the last 3 days I can see a massive difference of they come in really, humorous. They come in thinking that, I'm just here on a holiday, until we put them through different tasks. So once we put them through tasks, and then you can really see did they understand that? And then when you ask them, they're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. We talk about bullying last couple of days. They think it's humor. They just think that it's for fun. But sometimes they don't realize what impact that's going to have towards another. So that's the kind of stuff that we try and pick up, and then we try and utilize the resources that we've got so that we can apply that to the kids.
Everything starts at home. So with the parents, the values that they teach our youth, respect, caring, love, discipline, rules and boundaries. And that's the same for our high school student. Youth, they can't fully protect themselves, so we rely on parents, teachers and the police, to make sure that they're safe. The life skills have been present prior to the arrival of this camp, and that's been through the parents, schools, churches. Yes, and what I've seen of the students attending over the last 3 days, yes, they're very they've got special skills, but that doesn't mean we just rely on those. Right. This course can bring out more of those life skills, leadership skills, decision making, working as a team.
I'm just so happy to come back, give back, because this is what I love doing. So, it's an awesome opportunity to come back and work with our kids.
The students themselves reflected well on what the few days learning looks like, taking home some new skills.
But to be completely honest, I came here with a bit low expectations, but over the past few days, the activities that we have done have been really fun. But if there's one thing I expected, I was really looking forward to linking up with my friends again and getting to mix and mingle around with them, since it's been a few weeks since we've met.
I didn't think much of the camp. I thought it was just going to be normal. I didn't expect much from it, but coming here, it's been a lot, and I think I needed this camp.
Mainly the experience and the opportunity, and everything like life skills that the police and Blue Light has been teaching us, and yes, the experience.
Even from day one, they like turn up a little bit nervous, but you know, they're still energetic and keen. And then sort of day two, you know, smiles in the morning. Day three, they're rolling with it, and they're such a great bunch of kids. Honestly, it's a reward for myself to get to come to a beautiful country and work with youth.
The Life Skills Camp will come to an end tomorrow with a presentation at the police premises in Alofi in the morning. Paliasi came alive last weekend with one of the biggest festivals on the island, showcasing singing and dancing, traditional and modern. The festival Taunanga Tufunga Koli Malulongo is an event that was a long time coming and an opportunity to bring culture, language and heritage to the fore. All 13 villages were able to showcase a performance of one gospel song, one traditional and one modern taone. The festival has been organized by Taonga Niue, and its director, Moka Ioanelo Foli, was overwhelmed with the turnout.
Beyond my expectations. Firstly, very, very emotional, because this is something that we have been wanting to happen for many years, and finally it has happened. So the important thing for me was the relationship between the people, amongst our people, the villages. It's not about the village. I know most of our people, all of our people are putting our hands up, or our villages up, raising our own village flags. But at the end of the day, it's about Niue. It's about the whole of Niue. So I know we have our own village pride, but even those, the pride that you take upon you in regards to your village in trying to put your village on top of another, I mean, that's all part of raising the Niuean pride, the cultural pride of Niue.
Minister for Taonga Niue, Sonia Talangi, says the talent that's been showcased on stage was beautiful to see.
So much talent. That's another thing that we couldn't get over on Saturday. There was so much talent from the people that were writing the songs, the people that were dancing, the choreographers. It was a beautiful moment to see all of our people coming together and shining on the stage.
I was so thankful. The three words that I always use, and I've taught my children, whakauwe ke atua. That's because a lot of prayers have gone into this, not only for us, but I'm sure for everybody else. But I know for Alofi North in particular, I have heard elders, I have been amongst them when they pray specifically for this festival. So I was very thankful to God, first and foremost, and always will. And the turnout that happened the other day, I'm so thankful and very happy.
The festival was awesome, yeah. It's very well organized, and the young people, I mean, not the old, but the young generation is catching up with trying to get their people in the village to participate. People that I never see in such areas of entertainment before. They're there, yeah, they're there, they're all there. And I'm very happy, I'm very delighted that things are moving.
Koe whanga, homo haia, tu e fulu ke longona tau leo fulfuluola, to see all the people here, like there was such a revival of Niue culture and music and dance, and it was beautiful. You know, I've never seen a Lofi North group perform before, so I was very impressed by you know, those kind of villages, and just to hear all the Niue songs being used here. Yeah, I think it was a great time. It reminded me of the days back in Huanaki, because we haven't really had anything kind of like that, you know, on that scale, where everyone participates, and good to see all the villagers get involved too.
The festival rekindled memories from 1992 event where Frances George Valiana was one of the judges at the time and was carrying her daughter Georgia. This time around, she was taking directions from Georgia, one of the leaders of the Alofi North performances. Nonetheless, Frances was very clear on where her daughter's focus should be.
God first, and listen to the elders, because a lot of people, young people, tend to overlook that, and I see that in her as well. So we try and help her remember that yes, you have youth, but the knowledge is somewhere else, and maturity is somebody else's, and that comes if you listen, and that's how I see it. So very proud moment for us, very humbled. I was carrying her 24 years ago, very heavy too at the time, but this time around I was actually listening to her. We were just backing her because the Village Council of Alofi North, we thanked them, they had asked, and it's really the people who made this work for the village. It's her job was just to bring the people in and make sure that that people perform, and I think yeah, she did that, but it was the people who made that difference for the village, not her. So yes, two things: one, God first, and listen to the elders.
The Minister Talangi herself participated in 2 villages, but despite the familiarity of the people, there were a few surprises for her.
What actually surprised me is my 2-year-old nephew coming to my house complaining and crying. I want to go to the hall, I want to practice. Then when I played back some of the live coverage, he immediately sat down, started singing, started dancing, and I didn't expect that. I'm not sure if many of our people expected that, but it was such a joy to see all of our young children, and even our mothers, tupunas, coming forward as well. For me at the hall, to see them, not only was it a social activity for them, but also physical activity, the exercises of throwing your arms around and doing the dance movements. There were so many benefits that came out of this festival. Very grateful.
The Minister also saw the need to stage the festival on a more regular interval and explore opportunities to work together with the Halonga Festival in Auckland.
I certainly want to see it continue. If not an annual activity, then every 2 years at least. There was a lot of effort that went into it. The month of April is busy. Maybe we can push it into the June, July school holidays. But certainly there are other activities that celebrate performing arts, including short film and drama.
I did come here on my own, but I'm actually here also representing our Holonga Niue Council, our festival committee. So my role in there is I'm the creative director of the Holonga Festival, and also a member of the 3-Star Nation group that currently do the administration and governance of the festival. And so it was important for me to come here to represent them and to support the initiatives here, because a lot of people from Niue actually came to our one and supported, and so it's about doing all that connection work and ka whakalataha.
This is not the end of it. So like I said at my speech on Saturday, I did ask the government of Niue and the government of New Zealand to continue to support. So I know they've seen it. I know along the way we've asked the government of Niue and the government of New Zealand, and probably the government of Australia for assistance.
Lecky Jackson Burke was optimistic that Taonga Niue Taonanga Festival and Holonga will come together.
There's definitely potential to work together. A lot of the challenges we face is actually the people themselves. Like Niue people are very hard to mobilize and work together, but the more that we do it and keep going or normalize and You know, like when we saw this one here, it's the Taini Monisila intergenerational. Like whiawhialahi au ke ona me kisia tō mamatua ne koli, me tō whanau iki ne uhu lalongo. I was like, man, that's what it's about. Because often we just let the youth perform, but it's nice to see all the generations perform together as one. That's what I feel like we lost as Niue people over the years, but we're starting to get it back.
The performances from the Taonanga Tufunga Koli and Lolongo will be rebroadcast on TV Niue tomorrow evening. Finally, this evening, we understand that the campaign drive for a good number of candidates seeking the seat in the next Legislative Assembly have truly started. There were public meetings organized for some villages, social media posting have started to go up, and radio campaigning is also coming alive. We are somewhat true to form, and the last-minute tactics is yet again proving to kick off this time around. The Whalefono staff opened up the meeting chambers yesterday so that all the candidates who have put together their names or put up their hands, the new candidates, were given an opportunity to get closer firsthand of what it will be like to be part of this process. They entered the meeting houses, and an outgoing speaker, Hema Douglas, was also there to provide encouragement and guiding hand.
We wanted to let them know what to expect if they were elected, and also give them some general information on some of the stuff that is not common knowledge out there, but they need to know about it before they enter the house. So essentially, it was a briefing for our new candidates in the election.
Did you have did you have issues with new candidates coming in?
The issue was that they didn't know what to do. They were not quite sure where they were going, what they were going to do, what's expected of them. So this was that session, and jokingly I said, well, do you know of any profession where you're not required to sit any test, to pass any exams before you become a working member? And they said, yeah, this assembly. So essentially that was it. That was to give them a heads up on the kinds of things that they can expect if they're elected. But we also give them a little bit more information on the processes and procedures that is not common knowledge.
There was a presumption that when you put your name into the hat for this sort of things, we're expecting that you know what you're doing. Did you find that with the guys who came in today?
I tell you what, these guys were they're very clued up. They ask questions. They want to know things. None of them take it for granted that they know roughly what's happening. They know that this is a House of Parliament, but they don't know the full details. What to expect when they get in? How do they get the information in from the village to the House? So that was very useful.
A bit about where you are right now. There's a lot of information coming through and going to people like the guys who came in this morning. Do you ever feel like, okay, I think I should stay a bit longer?
That thought has crossed my mind, and in fact, when I delivered my final address to the House, and I said, well, I've been thinking about this for the past 3 or 4 weeks. And I know it's time to hang up my boots. But right now, I was sitting up in the seat behind us, but right now, I don't want to go anymore. And the House erupted. Changed my mind. Yeah, it changed my mind. But I think the time has come that I did promise my wife that when I turned a certain age that I would slow down and I would go home. But I think I'm very encouraged by the fact that we have now a roadmap that will take the next assembly. At least it's a guide for the next assembly, rather than for the newspaper to come in cold and have to do things all over again.
And there we go. This is all of the news that we have for you and our coverage for the election this evening. We hope to bring you more of the elections, including some live coverage of the results next Saturday. But that's all we have for you this evening. Thank you for watching. You have a good night.